guys, Andy, we're back with part 2. Now, having just watched part 1 just to remind myself, I reminded myself how bad it was put together. So I'm going to be a bit more methodical from now on. Going to do a couple hours a day, get the video done straight away, and by the end of the week we'll probably have 10-15 minutes of video. So, we're at this stage. Now, as you can see, a lot of the details are missing because I've simply pulled the copy away from the main drawing to do the what I call the profiles. I do this all the time when I'm making models to make things fit. Instead of printing the whole model or even a flat plate, I just intersect these parts I've drawn with a flat plate, and I get this skeleton that I put together. So I know what each bit is simply from its shape. I've cut them to size. They're just coloured differently so I can tell them apart, but these two actually go together because from there to there is about 220mm, which is just small enough to fit on my bamboo. So what I'm going to do now is go through to each one and just what's called extruding in SketchUp. 30mm here, which when I shrink it down 10 times will be 3mm. So I'll be creating a 3mm framework of each piece. So just go through and do the rest. And it's pretty simple because SketchUp tends to remember your last command on a tool. Oh, that one went the wrong way. That's alright, there we go. Right, so as for now, these two pieces are different colours just to tell them apart, but it'll make it easier when I'm printing. But they're going to be, this whole piece is going to be printed as one part. Whether the pistol grip is in that as well, I don't know. There might be like a slot in, so a separately printed pistol grip can be slotted in and a screw put through. But at the moment, this is just to get the framing done. So just bringing everything out to 30mm, or once it's shrunk down to 3mm. And then I'll print each one of these. Now, this purple piece with the X's in it, that's not actually going to be a 3D printed piece. That'll be the pipe, but at the moment I'm just using it as a placeholder. So I know I don't need to print it. Okay, so there's all my pieces. So I'll take those aside. What I'll do, what I normally do is copy them all, then I'll just zoom back so I know where I am. Okay, right, save this particular drawing, which will take a while because it's huge, there's stuff everywhere. There's Bryce, get rid of him, go paste in place and center, and there it is. Now obviously I can't print these profiles because even the smallest one of them is way too big, almost 2 meters. So what I've got to remember is shrink it down. You just scale it down to 0.10. There we go. So now that should be 220, and what is it, 240, so 600. Should be around 600-700 long. So let's have a look in millimeters. 670mm. So perfect, that's what we need. Okay, so what I've got my profile here. I'm just going to select most of it and just cut it for the moment, make it go away. Just have the muzzle profile, go export STL, export, and done. Then in SketchUp you can paste in place and put everything back, which is great. Deselect that one, select that one, and cut it again. And then I'll do exactly the same thing for each piece. Foregrip. I've saved all them, boom, boom, boom. Now I've got to go and use the Bamboo software on my other computer because this one can't handle it, it's only Windows 7. So I'll make each one an STL, print it onto Bamboo, put it together, probably glue a bit of wood on it or something just to get to proportion so I can handle it and hold it. Okay, back soon. Okay guys, here we have 4 of the pieces ready to go. The butt, the action, the tube and the muzzle. This is how Bamboo software has arranged them. So I'll print them out, then I'll print the other 2 in a separate file, and see what we can work out. So right guys, here we are the next day, and here's my outline. Just quickly whack it together. What goes where? That goes there. Okay. That goes there. There's the little muzzle. And here's the buttstock, and the mock-up as a tube. I can cut that out of a different bit. So, just putting these parts aside for the moment, it actually looks a tad big to me. Especially the pistol grip is a bit, doesn't feel quite comfortable in my hand, even though it's a frame. It's a bit wide that way, which means with the thickness it might be a bit too big. But I've got one of these lying around, and if you whack it over the top of that, you can see the proportions are nearly there. It looks like the pistol grip might be too far back. I don't know, I don't think so. What you have to remember is the distance from the trigger to the buttstock, the end of the buttstock, is different for every person. Now, we're lucky in that this one's adjustable, so it's going to be an easy thing to fix when you pick the thing up. But at the moment, if we put it like so, just mock it up very quickly, the distance from the pistol grip to the buttstock is, sorry, from the trigger, face of the trigger, is 35 centimeters, which is what, 12 inches, 13 inches. Now, I've heard, I think I've mentioned it before, I heard it's anything from 11 and a quarter to 12 and a half or something, or not a very big thing, but I've always found I'm more comfortable about 16. So fortunately it does have the movement there. Now this thing for me to hold is very cramped, simply because that's a very short buttstock. Let's measure that one. Yeah, we've got 10 inches. So really, to be comfortable for me, it'd have to be about there. So as I said, luckily I've got a movable buttstock, but I reckon this is probably needs to be shrunk by about 4, maybe 5%. Right, so if I want to shrink this down, we'll do a little quick bit of math. We know it's 670 long. I want it about 620. So 620 divided by 670 equals 0.92. Then you go 670 multiplied by 0.92 equals 614. So it'll go from 670 to 614, so that's a loss of about 60 millimeters, maybe a bit more. So that's about, probably need a little bit more than that, I'd say. But anyway, so that's our framework there. What I'm going to do now is get some tape and tape it down so it doesn't move, and draw around the outside. This white stuff it's sitting on is called cool flute. It's the same stuff they use, you know, for roadside signs, outside petrol stations, etc. I bought a crap load of it to use on a greenhouse, which was a really bad idea. Didn't work at all. But it'll be good here because I'll be able to cut this shape out. So I'm just going to trace it around that now. And this stuff is just like, it's not even heavy duty, I say it's medium strength plastic, so you can just cut it out with a pair of scissors. Now this obviously won't need to be perfect, especially the this butt, because we're still in a case of flux with the diameter of this and the diameter of this. So we'll see what happens when we get to actually that point. Got my shapes drawn. I'll cut them out and get right back to you. There we go. Right, so there we have our shape. Just chuck the frame on. So yeah, pretty good, pretty good. So now the next thing to do is cut out the stock. mock up some sort of temporary stock, you know, so you can attach it to this. It'll be just a couple of pieces of plastic either side. It'll be pretty simple. And then work out the sizing, and if the stock works to keep it comfortable for different length arms and all that sort of thing. It should do. It's a pretty basic sort of thing. So I'll get on with that, and I'll get back to you in just a second. Back again, guys. Okay, so there's our frame, which we used as a template to cut out some of this core flute plastic sheeting, and I've even made a little adjustable buttstock. So the actual size of it is not too bad. I find it comfortable with the buttstock about there for my long gorilla arms. Now I think, still feeling the pistol grip, I think it's a little bit too wide that way, which combined with the 3D thickness of it might make it a bit hard to actually hold. Might be just a bit too big, especially since the trigger, and I'll put a photo up here, the trigger is actually a straight lever, it's not curved. So what I'm going to do is the same thing I've done with here. I'm going to do the framework of this, for want of a better term, the flat and also at 90 degrees, so I can build a sort of a basket work, a weave, a structure of it, so I can test how it feels. This area up the front, it looks big and boxy, but remember, this part is like a lower Picatinny rail, and this is actually a hand grip, so it's only this area. And if I put this ridiculously proportioned blaster over it, it actually is not too bad size wise. It's still very compact for me, because I need if we put this on top, I need the butt a bit further off along than the back of this thing. As you can see, my hand's way down here. The next steps, as I can see them, are doing a basket weave of this, continuing to model all the details, which I've had to put on hold while I was doing this. But so modeling all the details, I'm going to make as much of it removable as possible, because obviously those things we pointed out the front, which are Picatinny rails. So what I'm going to do is actually get one of my Picatinny rails, say off here, off this modulus, measure the width and make sure they're matching. So if Matt who's getting it wants to put on a different scope or other details and dress it up, make it look cute, he can. The pistol grip, it fell a bit wide to me, so I thought I needed to actually do the full shape, put it on and see if it's too wide, and I've got to modify it. So I just did a negative shape on these two pieces, and I modelled this 10 times size because it's a lot easier than shrunk it down and printed it. These ones I forgot to shrink down, so I shrank them down in the Bamboo software, and I'm pretty stunned by this. So just put that on there. Nice solid click. Look at that. Well done, Bamboo guys, well done. Next one is I drew the Picatinny rails, these weird looking things, and I modified them so they would take Nerf bits and pieces. What I'm going to do is I'm going to print them separate, because I try to print this as part of this body. There's going to be all this support material in here I'll have to dig out, and I could damage the plastic and all that sort of thing. So I'm going to print them separate. So what I've decided to do, taking the original, cut out those two plugs and put in a screw hole, so I can just put a screw straight through in and then put the plug in on top. So I'm actually going to print them, take this inside now, put it in my Bamboo software, print it out, and we'll actually have our first piece of printed Maelstrom. Here in Magic 3D Printing Land, there's our little Picatinny rail. Right, so there's our U-Butte 3D printed Picatinny rail with our little plugs. Let me get them off there. Oh, there we go. Now see if they fit in the holes. I tapered the bottoms of them so they'll just slide right in. That, yep, oh look at that, fits right in. Perfect. Great, right. Now I can't I've got to make sure I don't lose that one when I get this off the plate, which is just a matter of flexing it. There we go. It just starts to separate, and there it goes. There we go. Pull that off. There we go. Look at that. Now, that's really good quality. I'm quite happy with that. I'm actually running a 0.6 nozzle at the moment, simply because my 0.4 got clogged and I haven't bothered to clean it. And I saw a different video today on a 3D printed bolter. It's a kit somebody's got on one of the sites, and it's a really good looking design. The guy's taken some time doing it. It's brilliant. But the guy actually, you know, printed it and built it, was giving you all these ideas he was doing. And one thing was going from 0.24 to 0.2 layer height, which I did. And I'm glad I did, because that's really smooth. You can barely see any layers. And I did ironing all the top flat surfaces. So I'm really, really chuffed with that. That looks absolutely excellent. Look at that. That's bloody brilliant. Now, a good thing about that is I can then get this thing. So in the original, this thing is about here. And it looks about in proportion to the length where it should be, about in the middle of the front. So that's it for now. I will get back to you soon. See you later.